What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. He's doing it again. He's doing it again. He's doing it again. Mino Raiola is talking about Paul Pogba once again. You know what? This is what's so frustrating. Like I did the press conference yesterday, right? You might have seen it on the channel. If you didn't, be sure to check it out. So I did the press conference yesterday, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was answering questions. He was answering questions about the game against West Ham on Sunday. He was answering questions about the defeats against Young Boys on Tuesday. He was answering questions about tactics, about Cristiano Ronaldo's impact that he's had on the club, all that kind of stuff. That's what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was answering in that press conference. You know what I said in yesterday's video? I said it. I said, you know what? It was a press conference and there wasn't a question about Paul Pogba. And I went, oh, that's so rare, because of course all summer that's all we've heard, and it feels like even before that every press conference is about Paul Pogba. Mino Raiola has said this. Paul Pogba's Instagram this was on Pogba's story. Pogba was out seen with so-and-so. And when Zidane was manager of Real Madrid, Zidane said this, all that kind of stuff. It was in every press conference. I said, you know what? It was a nice change of pace, because it was. It was a nice change of pace that nobody asked a question about Paul Pogba during the press conference, and because there are other things to talk about. And you know what? Bang, like that. Mino Raiola went, what? What's that? No one answered a question about Paul Pogba? Let me have an interview quickly. And then bang, makes everyone talk about Paul Pogba again. And that's why he's the guy that he is. The moment that nobody is talking about Paul Pogba once again in the terms of Manchester United, his future, his contract, got to get it back in. Got to go right back to the story once again. That's what he does. Every single time. So he's made some comments today. We'll talk about them briefly. But whilst everyone's coming in, be sure to smash a like on the video. As Flex likes to always say, come through the door, sit down, try and settle down. Try and calm yourself down. I'm doing my best. But settle down, smash a like on the video. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know where you're watching from as well. Usually we would do something at like 7 or something like that. I mean, that's what we've kind of settled into. Sort of late night views go for 7. But once this story came up, it was like, right, we'll talk about this. We'll go live a little bit early and talk with you guys. So let me know where you're watching from today. I always get a kick out of where in this United View community everyone's watching from. It's always crazy how global everyone is. I know I shouldn't be surprised by that. I shouldn't be surprised that around the world everyone's watching. It's just, it's crazy to think that. Just, I don't know. It's crazy. But I can see a lot of people are in the chat. So Iron saying Bradford over here in the UK. California, Jefferson's watching from. Ivan says the Bronx in New York. Tyler says Maryland, USA. Jermaine saying Tampa in Florida. Josh saying from Bahrain. So a lot of already a few American people as well. So it's amazing. Matthew says South Africa. And look, DJ's in. He's in Croydon. And by the way, this is another thing for the chat to do. It was actually DJ's birthday this week. His birthday was on Wednesday. So be sure to wish DJ a happy birthday. Wish him a happy birthday in the chat. And be sure to follow him on Twitter as well, at DJTalks_. What's the best? That's the best birthday present ever, isn't it? A follow and a happy birthday. Tremendous. So happy birthday, DJ. Happy birthday. Have a good one. Oh, I hope, well, it's already happened. I hope you had a good one. I had a good birthday week. Although I'm not for that whole birthday week and birthday month kind of stuff. You know when people do that? Oh, it's my birthday week. It's my birthday month. There's only 12 of them. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But yes, hope you had a great birthday. A bit of a tangent. But look, I'll go back to being angry once again. Mino Raiola. He's at it again because, again, the moment that people stop talking about Paul Pogba, I guess it's his job to make people talk about him once again. So Mino Raiola did an interview with Rai Sport. Fabrizio Romano was first to report this. And as every time Mino Raiola does interviews, the subject of Pogba comes up, and he always just has to jab Man United all the time. So he said, quote, Paul Pogba is out of contract in June. And nothing new there. He then said, so we'll talk with Manchester United and we'll see what happens. Juventus, Paul still loves Turin. There's a chance that Pogba will return to the Juventus, yes, but it also depends on Juventus plans. So again, he wants to bring up this Juventus thing. He wants to bring up Paul Pogba. Where's he going to go? What's his future? What's going on with Pogba? He's undecided or he's not yet decided. I find it weird as well. I really find it weird as well when it comes to Pogba. Do you remember seeing that report earlier this week? The report came out earlier this week. Again, this is before Tuesday's game. Saying Paul Pogba is seriously considering or leaning towards, he's leaning towards signing a new Manchester United contract because of the events of the weekend, the big victory that we had against Newcastle, the signing, the return, the homecoming of Cristiano Ronaldo. Paul Pogba's looking around going to tell you what, Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho, Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe there is something to this project after all. Maybe I am going to have success here. Maybe I don't have to leave. Maybe I don't have to go abroad and I don't have to go to Europe. PSG, they're not going to come after me at the moment because they just signed Messi and they're trying to balance those books. As if. But so PSG aren't interested right now, and he was leaning towards, you know what, actually, maybe I will stay. And then bang, a little bit of positivity, a little bit of positive news, and a little bit of just it dies down a little bit. Paul Pogba isn't suddenly the centre of attention, the centre of the headlines, because you've got Ronaldo in the club and people are talking about him. Got to get him back in there. Got to get him back in the media. Got to get him back, people talking about him. And Raiola does that straight away. It's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. Super chat from Ray, who is not a fan. Obviously of Raiola. Fan of United View, though. I appreciate the super chat. Says, Raiola's a virus. Pog out, Phillips in. Look, this is what I was thinking about when I heard this news as well. One, again, my mind immediately thought, I just said yesterday that we didn't have a question about Paul Pogba, which was nice. So, shame on me, I suppose. Two, I was thinking about the story earlier this week that he's leaning towards signing a new contract. And I thought, and then I've kind of settled on this opinion now, thinking about it for the last few minutes before I was going to go live here, is that this is nothing new. We know this. We know this. So I'm trying to not be like totally outraged because that's what Raiola does. That's what he always does. It's like the kid that wants attention. The kid that wants attention, suddenly he's not getting it. Starts smashing pots and pans and pushing things over and just saying outrageous stuff because, oh, heaven forbid, I don't get my attention again. And that's what it's kind of like. That's what it kind of feels like. And obviously, people will now be doing what they did before. I think back to just before the Leipzig game last season, like that important away game, and suddenly was it the eve of the game or the day of the game when Raiola came out and was like, well, I don't think he's going to stay at Manchester United. I'm paraphrasing. I can't remember the exact quote. And he came out in that and everyone was in uproar. I can't believe he's done this. It's terrible, awful. I can't believe it. All this kind of stuff. And people were like, get rid of Paul Pogba, get rid of him, he's terrible, he's rubbish, he's not worth adding to the team. Is Pogba going to say anything about this? Is Pogba going to come out and disavow what Raiola said? Pogba didn't do that because he never does. He will never. I mean, when was the last time Paul Pogba came out and went, I don't know what my agent's talking about. Sorry, guys. Now, again, you have that conversation of, does Pogba really know what he's going to say? I think that's debatable. I do think that one's debatable because I think there are probably some times where he's like, I had no idea he was going to say that, but he's gone out and said it. But at the end of the day, the agent represents the player, and the agent represents most of the time the player's thoughts and feelings. So at the moment, you kind of get the impression that Paul Pogba, I mean, we call KG the flip-flop, but Paul Pogba's kind of flip-flopping at the moment. You know, one good result at the weekend, and suddenly it's a case of, I tell you what, I'm going to stay. And then he loses in the week against Young Boys in the Champions League and goes, Juventus, are they going to be interested? Juventus, are they going to come out again? It's nothing new. And it's kind of, it's what Mino Raiola does. And it's him just once again stoking those fires of sort of fanning the Juventus flame, if you will, that maybe he could go back to Juventus. Maybe he could go back to Turin. And I mean, again, occasionally he does this where he tries to generate some interest. He tried to do it a couple of times over the summer, Raiola, as well, remember. A couple of times he had those interviews and no one bit. Nobody bit. Nobody bit on that bit of, you know, bait he was putting out there. And Pogba stayed. And Manchester United want Pogba to stay. And Pogba, he'll probably play at the weekend, right? Because this is how it goes. This is how it's gone. Every single time something like this has happened. Raiola will come out, say something, the fans get really annoyed and be like, screw Paul Pogba, screw Mino Raiola. Pogba plays at the weekend, he scores, he gets an assist, or he plays really well, and we go, isn't Paul Pogba great? I really hope he stays, and he sacks his agent. And then we do the same thing over and over and over and over again. And until he signs a new contract, that is the cycle. That is the cycle at this point. That is just constant, over and over and over again. Super chat from the football gurus says, lose a game and Raiola is back again. Well, one thing I must say is that we don't know when the interview was actually conducted. So in fairness, not that I want to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, but I mean, it could have been conducted prior to that. I doubt it. But it's Listen, again, that's what he does. That's absolutely what he does. And the expectation that Pogba will come out and disavow Mino Raiola and say, I can't believe my agent said that. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen whatsoever. He'll play at the weekend. He'll play well. He's played well this season. He's got how many assists? 7? His assists are unbelievable. I think the idea of the Juventus link, because he likes to constantly push that Juventus link. And look, Juventus obviously have more money than they did earlier this year, or the beginning of the end of the transfer window, right? Because they got Ronaldo off the books. They got Ronaldo off the books, and that helped out when it came to wages. Obviously, part of the big sort of push, why there wasn't now much resistance from Juventus to get Ronaldo out the door anyways, because they just couldn't afford him anymore. This is kind of one of the misconceptions, isn't it, about European football at the moment? Largely, it's only really, apart from, your sort of your PSGs who have got that money just constantly, but largely it's only really Premier League sides that haven't been totally just ripped apart when it comes to the pandemic. Pretty much every other European club, maybe the Real Madrid's, but when it comes to their finances, even then, they've had to get rid of players and get players off the books and all this kind of stuff to even talk about, the Mbappe stuff and all that kind of stuff. But largely, it's only Premier League clubs that despite the pandemic, financially, they can still spend a ton of money. You look at clubs in any other league, they just can't spend that kind of money anymore. And I know people will say, well, it's a free transfer. But they just got rid of a load of wages for Cristiano Ronaldo. And Paul Pogba, we know what he wants. He wants a lot of money. So he would want the same amount of money, surely, if he went to Juventus. They wants at Manchester United. So who's to say that Juventus can even afford him right now? I didn't even know if they can. It's all well and good Mino Raiola saying, he really likes Turin and he really likes Juventus. And Juventus would be like, great, but I don't know if we can afford you. We couldn't even afford Ronaldo. Not to say that he would be on Ronaldo wages, but he'd want to be relatively close. He'd want to be in that ballpark. And again, can they even afford that right now? I don't know that they can. And if he's upset about Manchester United or they're not sure of their season, has he seen the Serie A table this season so far? Juventus is doing terrible. They're doing terrible. They've won one. Have they even won a game? I think they've drawn one game. I think they've lost the rest, haven't they? So it's not as if they're doing tremendously well either. So Mino Raiola trying to stoke and fan those flames of, well, he still loves Turin and he could still go back there. He saw what happened at Manchester United when he came into a club and we thought that he was going to take us to the stratosphere. And it was kind of like when sometimes you drop like one player into a side and they just become brilliant. People thought that was going to happen with Paul Pogba when we signed him in 2016, and it didn't happen because you realise Paul Pogba doesn't just make a team great on his own. He still has to be surrounded by great players. You think dropping Paul Pogba into that Juventus team that suddenly Juventus is going to win the Champions League? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And even if it was a free transfer, even if Juventus agreed a deal to sign Paul Pogba at the end of his contract, the reason why these football players love those free transfers is because what money would be going to the club in terms of a transfer fee, they get in terms of a signing on bonus. So instead of it being like, well, we have to pay the club a load of money, so your signing on fee might be a little bit down, they'll give it all to Paul Pogba. So again, you're talking about a signing on fee of like 15 million, 20 million on top of the big wages that he has. Juventus don't have that money. They just don't, because again, European clubs at the moment don't really have that unless you're PSG, who are just state-funded at this point. They don't have that. So again, Mino Raiola, they're kind of baseless claims. They said it in the summer, didn't they? When they were saying, who could he go to? Who could he go to? Everyone was saying, well, it'd only be PSG. It'd only be PSG that could have him because they're the only ones that can afford him, because otherwise, European football, struggling financially. Look at Barcelona at the moment. I mean, again, look, you can say Real Madrid, well, they spent a load of money when it comes to wages on Alaba, which is crazy, and they might get Mbappe next year on a free transfer as well. But again, Juventus, this idea that Juventus have that money to spend is laughable. It's absolutely laughable. And again, like he would be going into a better side. Who's to say at this point that Juventus are a better side on paper than Manchester United? I don't even know. I don't think they are. I really don't think they are. We've certainly got more attacking options than they have. And again, look at the league. Look at the league tables. So the idea that the grass is greener in Turin and all that kind of stuff, it's not. He would be going into a Juventus side now, or at the end of the season, wherever it may be, but he would be going into a Juventus side that's far worse than the one he left when he joined Manchester United in 2016. So again, Raiola can say these things, and Pogba won't come out and disavow him because he doesn't. He never does. He never does. And Solskjaer, to his credit, And in fairness, this is one of the, I guess, positives of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is that every time this situation has come up, every single time that Raiola has come out and said something about Paul Pogba, or put a jab at Manchester United, or said that Pogba wants to leave, or is thinking about leaving, or could consider an option from a Juventus, a PSG, a Real Madrid, all that kind of stuff, Ole just kind of shrugs. Ole just kind of just goes, well, that's his agent. That is what it is. And then, again, he picks Pogba at the weekend, or he picks Pogba in matches. Pogba plays well, and then we kind of move on. And it's this kind of circus. And it's kind of a case of, like, I don't know about you, and I would love to know you guys in the chat what you thought, but the moment I just saw that quote, it was just a case of, here he goes again. Here he goes again. It's just absolutely, it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And I mean, and it's not going to change anything. Again, Pogba's future, I didn't even know if it would be decided in January. Of course, he can start talking to other clubs in January, right? Because he's a free agent. Other clubs abroad, that is, not in the UK, or not in the Premier League, rather. But he can start talking to other clubs in January. But I don't think a Pogba deal is going to be sorted out in January. My stance on it, and I don't know about you, is that, and this has been the same all throughout the summer, is I don't think Pogba will sign a contract with anyone until next summer. Now, that could be Juventus, that could be PSG, or that could be Manchester United, but I don't think Pogba is going to make his mind up anytime soon. I really don't, unless United just absolutely just completely bottom out and are terrible, and it looks we turn into this complete mess. But even if that happened, possibly we'd get in a new manager, and maybe that would change things as well. So I think Pogba, rightly or wrongfully so, is just going, you know what, I'm going to wait until the summer. Next summer, I'm going to weigh up my options. If Manchester United win something this season, or we're close to winning something this season, if we're only a few points off the title, or we go quite far in the Champions League, or if there is a legitimate sign that we're not far off and it would literally take one player for us to possibly win the title next season, then yeah, I'll probably stay. Or if you can offer me good enough money, which I know you can, then yeah, I would probably stay. If not, I will have a look at maybe a PSG. We've spoken about PSG before. Maybe he's looking at how are PSG going to do in the Champions League this season. If PSG win the Champions League, and he might go, you know what, I'll go to PSG because they might win it again. If they don't do well, and again, they drew with Bruges, by the way. Those people that were like, oh, Poch in before with Solskjaer and stuff like that. Look at that. He's got all the best players in the world, and he's still drawing away to Bruges. Can you imagine that? It's crazy. It's crazy at the moment, but it is what it is when it comes to Pogba. Renate says, Pogba waiting for sure. Dennis says, bigger and better players have left United and we have survived to move on. I couldn't care less. And, some people might say with Dennis, with that kind of stuff, that people might be like, you would care if Pogba has left. But he is right. At the end of the day, Paul Pogba is not bigger than Manchester United. That is the facts. Those are the facts. Would we be a stronger team with Paul Pogba if he stays? Absolutely. Would we be a weaker team if he leaves? Of course we would have. Ideally, I don't know about you, I would want Pogba to stay. But again, when it comes to Raiola, we kind of, at this point, know sort of the devil we're dealing with, don't we? We do know the devil we're dealing with. And also, this is an interesting point as well, and I'd be interested to know what you guys think as well in the chat, is that when it comes to Raiola, are United being very careful about how they operate with him, knowing that they want to get Erling Haaland next season? Because Erling Haaland is represented by Raiola as well, right? And I've seen people be a bit skeptical when it comes to Haaland about that too. That some people have said, the problem is with Haaland, yes, obviously we're getting arguably the best up-and-coming striker in the world, and this guy's going to be the best striker in the world, or he might already be, but certainly in a couple of years he's going to be above the rest, all that kind of stuff. Do we want to get into business with that guy again in Raiola, or do we just want to say, you know what, Pogba go, we don't deal with Raiola anymore, that agent we don't deal with, or do we try and say, like, look, we're going to have to put up with Raiola and his nonsense talking about Pogba and talking about other things because we want to have at least a decent relationship, because come the summer, we might want to be negotiating with him because we might want to be having to get Erling Haaland in. And we know the reports are there with Manchester United, right? Erling Haaland's a priority target for Manchester United next season. So once again, it's kind of a case of Raiola. He's not stupid. I mean, and we can say all these things about him, and Lord knows we have and we will, because when he comes out about stuff today, you just have to roll your eyes at him. But he knows he has leverage. He knows he has leverage. He knows he has some power. And the moment he feels like that's slipping, he does that stuff like today. He feels like people aren't talking about Pogba. I need to make him talk about Pogba again. And he knows, like, they're not going to cut me off. Well, Manchester United are just going to not do business with me anymore, when I know for a fact, because they've been already kind of reaching out to intermediaries, that they want Erling Haaland next season. So those kind of things play into it. And it may seem like very, like, I don't know, 4D chess, and it doesn't really work like that, Owen, but it kind of does. It kind of does. And football agents know that they've got multiple players, and it might be a case of, okay, you want to play ball and you want me to sort of maybe lean into Haaland being like, maybe you should pick Manchester United next year. Maybe you should consider going there. Well, you have to deal with me and the Paul Pogba situation. You have to make sure we come to a resolution that I like as well. All of those different pieces go into the big puzzle that is recruitment. And I think that does play into it as well. So that's interesting. Ivan says, why would Haaland not go to Real? He is obsessed with UEFA Champions League, and Real is statistically the best place to go to win the Champions League. They want him, can pay his wages, and can build a team around him and Mbappe. Well, you would say statistically that's the best place to win the Champions League based on the last few years, but the Real Madrid of the past few years is not the Real Madrid of today. Things have changed. Things have changed dramatically, especially in Spanish football, right? Barcelona, you would have said previously, Barcelona are a great place to statistically win the league or the Champions League before. But that's Barcelona with Messi. And, Real Madrid winning the Champions League is winning the Champions League with Ronaldo, with Zidane, with all of those players, which aren't there anymore, with Ramos. So you can talk about statistics and stuff like that, but fundamentally, things have changed. Like previously, and that's what kind of baffles me at the moment, is that I know a lot of people have dreams. They always say that, it's my dream to play for Real Madrid, or it's my dream to play for Barcelona. Because I think sometimes as UK fans, we don't appreciate how much people grow up wanting to play for Barca or Real Madrid. Because for us over here in the UK, it's always a case of you have your team, like Manchester United. My dream would be to go up and play for Manchester United. And still people to this day have dreams of playing for Madrid or Barca. But I would argue if you wanted to win the Champions League today, you probably wouldn't go to a Madrid or a Barca right now. You would go to a club in the Premier League. You would go to one of the clubs in the top four, because for me, the question now is arguably the four best teams. Gary Neville said it this week, right? Four best teams in the world are arguably in the Premier League right now. Maybe you could throw in PSG there, but if you want to talk about statistics, they never won the Champions League. So again, I think that's. It's interesting. It is interesting. And Ivan says things have changed dramatically. Real is coming back faster than you think. Don't sleep on them. Well, obviously, look, if they sign like Mbappe next season, then obviously things might change. But Spanish football is just so unpredictable at the moment, especially when it comes to finances. And that's the thing. And I think that's the thing when it comes to Pogba. Previously, they were talking about Pogba going to Real Madrid. Those talks have died off dramatically, not just because of Zidane leaving as well and Pogba wanted to play for Zidane. But again, it comes back to finances, and Real Madrid obviously have their eyes on Mbappe, and I think they've already started to shift a lot of things around to ensure that they can get Mbappe in as well. So that's certainly interesting. Yash says I'd take Bellingham from Dortmund over Haaland. I tell you what, Jude Bellingham is unbelievable. I don't know if you saw his performance in the Champions League the other night. The guy, we talk about generational talents, don't we? And we're kind of going off on a bit of a tangent here, but this is what I enjoy with the free seats we got here on United View, and especially with that thing, I can get it up on the screen. It's fantastic. But Jude Bellingham is something else. He really is something else. He will be, for me, a £100 million footballer. I have no doubt about it. He will be. I know Grealish just became like the first English £100 million footballer. Bellingham will be the next. He will be the next. And you can talk about Manchester United. Did we blow it by not getting him when he was having the tours around all the grounds, and we got Sir Alex to talk to him and stuff like that? Did we blow it? Of course we did, because he would have been world class. He's a world class player. But I still contend to this day he probably made the best move for his development, because we know how, certainly in England, how difficult it is for a young player to get yourself established in a Premier League side, in a top Premier League side, because they have no trust when they should. And we'd have sent him out on loan to, like, I don't know, back to Birmingham or something like that. And that's what would have happened. So he made the right move for his career, absolutely. But he is world class. He is absolutely world class. But Bellingham, him leaving Dortmund, not even next summer, to be honest with you, because Haaland will go. Dortmund are very strategic about how they get rid of players. It was a case of this year. They knew this past summer, right? They sold Sancho, 75 million, right? He's gone. They could have sold Haaland for far more money than they're going to get from him next year. The release clause clicks in next summer. He's going. He's gone. And Dortmund knew that. And they knew that, wait a minute, we could sell him this year for way more money, probably like double that price, but we still want to contend. We still want to try and contend for the Bundesliga. We still want to be in the Champions League next season, get far in that. So we're going to keep him. We're going to keep Haaland, even though it's going to cost us next year. It's the same with Bellingham. I would be stunned, flabbergasted, if they got rid of Erling Haaland and Jude Bellingham in the same summer, because they wouldn't. They'd be destroying themselves. It's cannibalism at that point. So maybe not next year, but the summer after that. I think that would probably be what we're talking then. 2023, I think, is probably the most likely situation. But he is tremendous. He is tremendous. But going back to the Paul Pogba situation, I mean, again, I know that this is just par for the course at this point with Mino Raiola. But where is everyone lying at this point? Where is everyone laying? We heard the story earlier this week that Pogba was leaning, well, this was before the Champions League game, but we heard the news that Pogba was leaning towards signing a new contract with Manchester United or in that direction. What do we think? Does this change anything today? Does this change anything today? Does this change your opinion on if Pogba's going to stay, or is he going to leave, or is he going to sign a new contract? Is he going to do this because is he going to do that? Because for me, it hasn't really changed anything because it's what Mino Raiola does. And like I said, I think it's a case of him knowing that United have to deal with him eventually anyway. And it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's more, you know, like, again, with those people that are sort of, you deal with them in life, don't you, sometimes? Or those people that are just so, they want to be loud and they want to get attention. And the first few times they do it, you go, oh, okay, that's annoying. And you're like, wow, I can't believe they would do that. I can't believe they would say that. But when you're talking like the 4th, 5th, or 6th time, eventually you just kind of go, oh, he's doing it again. You know, he's doing it again. That's what he does. He's doing it again. Rivez says, late to the stream. What did Raiola say? So if you are late to the stream, be sure to smash a like on the like button as well. We're at 105 likes. Let's see if we can we've got over 300 people watching. Let's see if we can get 150. Let's see if we can get 150 like that. Like I'm like Thanos. See if we can get 150 likes. And be sure to subscribe, of course, bottom right-hand corner. So if you are late to the stream, this is what Mino Raiola said. He said, quote, Paul Pogba is out of contract in June, so we'll talk with Manchester United and we'll see what happens. Juventus, Paul still loves Turin. There's a chance that Pogba will return to Juventus, yes, but it also depends on Juventus's plans. So, again, looking at that quote again, when it comes to the Juventus thing, he's kind of implying there that he doesn't know. He doesn't know if Juventus wants, I mean, they probably would want Paul Pogba, but he doesn't even know if they can afford Paul Pogba. So he's going, I don't even know their plans. He could go back to Juventus. Okay, well, I could just start flying in a minute. Probably not going to happen. He's talking hypotheticals at that point. And of course, Paul Pogba likes Turin because they signed him from Manchester United on that free contract way back when, and he developed massively there. And Raiola likes to just play that Juventus line, all that kind of stuff, because he knows realistically that at the moment that's probably the only club that's realistically an option. Because before it was PSG, right? For the summer we kept hearing that, right? PSG's a possibility, PSG could happen. And then the moment that PSG signed Messi, everyone went, financial fair what? You know, but how are you going to afford that one? And even now, they're kind of a case of trying to justify that. They were like, we're going to get rid of players. Don't worry, we're going to get rid of players. We're going to have players go. We're going to have players get off the books, and not that many went. So PSG realized that if they were to get Paul Pogba, even next summer, questions would be asked. Could they actually? I mean, I say financial fair play like it's an actual real thing. When everyone loads, it's a load of shit. It's a load of bullshit at the end of the day. Because when it comes to like PSG and financial fair play, they get it right up to that line, and they'll say to Messi, look, in terms of financial fair play, in terms of the accounts, we can only offer you this amount. But of course, there's a World Cup coming up in Qatar. You might just get this weird new Qatari sponsorship that might just come up tomorrow. I don't know why. I don't know. It won't have anything to do with us. No, not at all. Nothing to do with us whatsoever. And then it's the same. Man City do the same and all that kind of stuff. It's ridiculous. Like it's a real thing. But but they still understand the optics of it and how it has to look like. So they realize that. So Raiola realizes that PSG isn't a realistic option right now, or in the summer anyway. And again, Real Madrid, they're going to be spending all of their money on Mbappe, obviously next summer too. So he realizes that it's only really Juventus. And again, can Juventus actually afford him? No, they can't at the moment. Again, they got rid of Ronaldo, or well, they didn't get rid of Ronaldo. Ronaldo said, "I'm leaving," and then Juventus went more than happy to let you go because they couldn't afford him. So who's to say they could do so with Pogba as well? It's Mino Raiola being Mino Raiola. It's one of those things. Ashik says, CR7 has recognised that Juventus were on a decline. Pogba and Raiola know the same, so surely it's just negotiation tactics. And I think that's a good comment. I really do think that's a good comment. Again, if you really think that Juventus are this the club that they were previously, of course they didn't win the league last season, they finished 4th. But on top of that, look how they've started this season. Like have they even won a game in Serie A? I think they've drawn 1 and they've lost 2. And the Serie A is the interesting thing is that it's a very open league this year, right? I think even Mourinho knows that. That's why he's there with Roma, because he thinks, you know what, I could do a bit of a madness in that league, because you had Conte leave as well. So it's a very even league, balanced league at the moment. And Juventus aren't what they were a couple of years ago, or certainly during the time of complete domination in Italy. And I think everyone, again, if you look hard enough, you realise that things have opened up massively there. Like I said earlier on, Paul Pogba would not be going back into a team that was at the same level as the one he left. He'd be going back into a far worse side. Now, some people will say, well, Juventus won trophies last season. They did, but again, it's not the Juventus. If his point is I want to leave Manchester United because I want to win things, Juventus ain't a guarantee anymore. Previously, it would have been. But it's not a guarantee. It really is. So, I don't know. Robert says, this is an interesting point, if Ollie is gone, Pogba is gone. He won't do another rebuild. I don't know if I necessarily agree with you there, Robert. I think that Pogba and Ollie do have a good relationship. They do. I think arguably, not arguably, he does. Pogba has a much better relationship with Ollie than he ever did with Mourinho, apart from when he first signed for Manchester United. So he has a good relationship with him. It would depend. And again, I don't really want to be talking too much about, Ollie's going to get sacked and all this kind of stuff, because it's not going to happen. I mean, for a while, certainly it's not going to happen for a while. And things would have to go spectacularly wrong for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be sacked. We'd be talking about not getting through the Champions League group stage, falling off in the league massively, all that kind of stuff. Again, not wanting to drag the Ollie stuff back up, but from my point of view, again, people getting very angry that we lost in the week, but we're top of the league at the moment. We are. And only after 4 games, I know, but we're still top of the league. And we just broke the record for the longest away unbeaten record in Premier League history. So, Solskjaer isn't going to leave anytime soon, certainly. And again, if he did, I don't know if that would spark Pogba to stay or to leave. Either way, it would depend who came in. Because people talk about Zidane. Of course, Pogba would want to play with Zidane. Or if it was Conte, right? He played under Conte at Juventus too. So those things are very hypotheticals. I'm not really sure you can get into them too much anyway. But they are what they are. But again, the big story is here that Raiola once again is giving it a bit of that. Giving it a bit of that and hoping people will sit up and take notice. I would hope that at this point, Manchester United, whether it's Ed Woodward or Richard Arnold or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or whatever, they know what this guy is doing at this point. They're wise to his tactics, and like I said before, I think the case of they just have to try or they want to keep him sweet because otherwise, because they want to get Haaland next year. That's it. A couple of other things briefly before we wrap things up, because I won't keep you too long this evening. So United released their 4th quarterly financial results today. So you had a lot of quotes from Ed Woodward and Richard Arnold. Of course, this is probably Woodward's, it might be his final call, because he's leaving at the end of the year, isn't he? So it might be his final call as CEO. So he's talking about a lot of things, a lot of stuff by saying, this was one of the quotes. We're delighted to welcome back Cristiano Ronaldo to the club, along with Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho. He threw in Tom Heaton there, bless him, to further reinforce the progress that the team has been making under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He also said this was made possible by the strength of our operating model with sustained investment in the team underpinned by robust commercial revenues. Again, not talking about the Glazers putting money in. Like we all know, Manchester United put in what they operate. So if they make any money of profit, they put that into the club. But certainly the Glazers don't put their hands in their pockets or anything like that. So that's the situation. As I mentioned, when it comes to all these quotes, a lot of them are just investor financial bullshit talk, to be honest with you. Like he said, it's not an accident that we've been able to invest this summer. This reflects the strong commercial model we have built over many years, ensuring that our spending is always underpinned by revenues we generate ourselves. So again, he's basically saying the owners don't put in crap, basically. He also said, while squad building is a constant process, we are more than confident than ever that we are that we are on the right track. So he's basically said that they're very, very happy. The results didn't actually factor in any of the Ronaldo stuff because that only happened so recently. So the next call that Manchester United do, when they talk about the profits and all that kind of stuff, that's when they'll talk about how much money Cristiano Ronaldo made for the club, how much money all the shirts brought in and all that kind of stuff. So we didn't get anything like that today. And it was just a case of Ed Woodward coming out saying that we're doing very well and financially we're doing very well and all that kind of stuff. So that is what that is. You expect that. One final story was that Donny van de Beek did not get included in Louis van Gaal's provisional Netherlands squad. Oh dear, because this is the second time in a row. So the Dutch squad released their Dutch national team released their provisional squad for matches against Latvia and Gibraltar today. And even the provisional squad, we're not even talking about the final squad, the provisional squad did not include Donny van de Beek once again. And he's not going to get in there anytime soon then. Louis van Gaal said it a couple of times already. Because the last time he didn't get picked, they said, why didn't you pick Donny van de Beek? And it was very simple. He went, I picked him up and just went, you're not playing. If you're not playing, you're not going to get picked. Sorry. And that would mean then Donny's international career is probably on hold at this point. Because he's not going to play. I know he played in the week. And obviously that didn't go as anyone would want it to. And eventually got taken off. And obviously we lost and all that kind of stuff. But he's going to struggle. He's going to struggle because my hope was when it came to midweek with Manchester United, especially Donny van de Beek, I thought, right, as soon as I saw him starting, I went, great. I hope he has a good game because then maybe he can force Solskjaer's hand of, oh, he went so well in the week, then maybe I have to play him. Maybe I have to play him in the league. And it didn't go well, and there is no way he starts on Sunday. It's not going to happen. It'll either be Fred and Pogba or it'll be Matic and Pogba. Either way, Donny van de Beek will be on the bench on Sunday. You can almost guarantee it. You can almost absolutely guarantee it at this point. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. And I sympathise for Donny because obviously it's getting closer and closer to the World Cup, and the World Cup is next year. And Louis van Gaal is not one of those coaches that some international managers are, whereby they have a loyalty to certain players, and if you're playing or not for your club, they'll pick you anyway. Louis van Gaal appears to be saying, look, if you're not playing for your club, you're not going to be playing for the country. That's it, simple as. So if I'm Donny van de Beek now that this has happened twice, and now that I've had this conversation once again, I would be picking up the phone to my agent if I was Donny van de Beek, being like, right, we need to have discussions. Because at the same time, can you imagine his frustration? He must see Paul Pogba, you must see this agent's always making trouble and they facilitate him. And I understand he's Paul Pogba, I'm Donny van de Beek. But, maybe you need to come out and say something, right? Maybe you need to do something. Or we need to talk to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Because by the time January comes around, maybe we need to look at a loan move. Or maybe we need to talk to someone. All this kind of stuff. Because, it's one thing to not be playing all the time, but at least be playing some of the time. He never plays. He never plays. And Yash says these are just qualifiers. It's not that deep. That would be true, but they are an indicator of what's to come for the big tournament, isn't it? You think that if he doesn't play for Manchester United all summer all season rather, and he doesn't play any of the qualifiers, suddenly he's just going to be in the World Cup squad next year? Of course he's not. He won't. That's the situation. So if I was him, again, it would be a case of, man, something needs to change relatively soon, and I don't think it is. I don't think it is for him at Manchester United. And again, it might be a case of him going out on loan in January, or maybe even something else. Or maybe he will play more Champions League games. Maybe he'll play next Wednesday. I think he'll play next Wednesday against West Ham in the Carabao Cup. And once again, hopefully that might be the situation. Hopefully that might be the situation there. Nick Van Dam says Van Gaal won't pick him until he is a regular starter or he leaves Manchester United. Van Gaal hates us at the moment, coming from a Dutch person. Appreciate the Dutch opinion. Van Gaal, obviously, he said a few things about Manchester United. Not specifically Man United. He said things about Ed Woodward, and some of the things he said, to be fair, have been pretty spot on. You can't really argue with him, and you can understand his point of view and his feelings about Manchester United. But I think, to be honest, with Louis van Gaal, and again, I wasn't the biggest fan of him at United, but I think he's not really wrong. He's not really wrong when he says, well, why would I pick him? He's not playing. You know, that's an international manager's right, isn't it? And maybe the United stuff does come into it, but I think it probably more leans into he's just looking at Donny van de Beek going, you're not playing, so I can't pick you. That's the situation. So that is what it is. But look, guys, we'll probably have this same stream in, I don't know, a couple of weeks' time, because Mino Raiola will probably say something again, right? Because that's what he does. He always says stuff like this. He always says this kind of nonsense, and we'll probably have this discussion again. I would rather, though, like, in fairness, if he's gonna do it, then do it. Fine, do it on a Friday, in the morning or in the afternoon, and we play on Sundays. It's not going to affect us that much. You know, I'd much rather him do it now than when he did it before, like the day of or the day before a massive Champions League game that could decide whether you stay in the competition or you exit it. I'd much rather it then. So. It will continue. It will continue. The Pogba saga will continue, and it will continue on and on and on until we sign a contract for either us or anyone else. The Pogba dramas will continue. But look, guys, be sure to smash a like on the video. We're on 149 likes, so we only need one to get 150. That was the target I said previously, wasn't it? So we only need one like to get to 150. So I do appreciate everyone that has tuned in. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner as well. Obviously, we're going to have Sunday. We're going to have the match view coming up, as always. We'll have the match reaction. We'll have some fan views as well. So we've got another exciting weekend of content coming here for United View as we face West Ham away at the London Stadium. Be sure to follow us on social media as well, at United View TV on Twitter and Instagram. I think we're nearly at 11,000. Like, we're at like 10.9K for Twitter, so we're really close to get to 11,000. So if you haven't already, be sure to follow us on there, posting clips from the streams and some interesting questions, some interesting hot takes. So be sure to get involved with the community there as we continue to grow onto the road of 100 to 100 subscribers. I wish 100,000 subscribers here at United View on YouTube. But yes, thank you very much for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this stream today, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.